Good morning. I'm so happy today to be able to welcome our guest speaker, Chikyo Imura. Chikyo Imura is in residence here at Minnesota Zen Meditation Center from June 10th through June 30th. It's been really wonderful to have time to connect and have Chikyo-san in the community. And this visit is funded by a generous grant from the Frederick P. Lynch Foundation for American Buddhism, for which we are very grateful. Chikyo-san grew up in a temple in Japan. Her father was abbot and her teacher. And she has trained for 3 years at the Koshoji Zen Monastery in Japan and served there as Shuso, head student, where she passed through the Dharma gate of the Hosen Shiki Dharma combat ceremony, which I think she will talk about today. And she recently spent 3 months traveling in Japan, in South America, training in numerous and practicing in numerous different temples in South America. I think like 5 different countries maybe. So, and this is her first time in the United States, so we're really grateful that you have traveled so far to share your heart and your wisdom with us here. So thank you so much for being here, Chikyo-san.
Hello everyone, my name is Chikyo Imura. I am from Japan. Thank you very much for inviting me to Minnesota Zen Meditation Center. I am really appreciate for giving me this opportunity to meet and speak with you. Today, I would like to share with you some of my experiences and feelings that I have had through my Buddhism practice. I am still inexperienced. I have many doubts and mistakes, and there are far more things I don't know than things I do know. However, I would be very happy if each of you could take something from my story. First of all, I would like to introduce myself and tell you about my life before I started my Buddhism practice.
It will be easier to remove the glasses and then put them back.
I was born and raised in a Sotoshu temple in Nabari City, Mie Prefecture, Japan. The temple's name is Tokuren-in. My grandfather and father are monks. My grandmother and mother grew up in a normal family that was not a temple and came to the temple when they got married. I have one sister who is 1 year older than me. In most Japanese temples, when boys are born, they are expected to become monks in the future. In many cases, girls are expected to marry a monk and take over the family. Since my sister and I were girls, we did not receive the training to become nuns from our grandfather or father, and we grew up as adults. Even though I was born and raised in a temple, I don't think there is anything different from a normal family. When I was a child, my parents kept a temple and were teachers at a high school and primary school. Unlike a monastery, there are no strict rules. Fish and meat are served at the dinner table, and we watch TV with the family. My father and grandfather drinking a little alcohol at dinner, blushing and looking happy. But I think there were more occasions when I felt Buddha when I was a child. Many women used to come to the temple to learn Baika. Baika is Baika-ryu Eisanka. It was founded in 1952 at Sotoshu, and then Sotoshu learned from Shingonshu. So Baika has many influence from Shingonshu. Through Baika songs, we learn about the Buddhist teachings. I could hear their Sambogowa-san singing and the sound of bells from the main hall as if it was lullaby. 唱え立てまつる三宝ごあさんに心の闇を照らしますいともとときみほとけの誓いを願うものは皆なむきえうつと唱えよや The bell insects that my grandmother had raised would chip ring, ring to their singing. Many people gather at the temple during the season of big events called Obon and Ohigan. From a young age, my sister and I helped carry the offerings people brought to the main hall. As I walked to the main hall, I could hear the voices of the monks, including my father and grandfather, chanting the sutras. My real name is Tomoko. Chikyo is a Dharma name that my father, my teacher, gave me when I became a nun. The Somoko in the Daihi Shindarani Sutra sound like Tomoko to me. ナムカラタンのトラヤヤナムオリヤボリョキチシフラヤソモコしてどもどらほどやソモコ I thought it had my name in it, and Daihi Shindarani was my favorite sutra. When the rice was finished cooking, my mother would be the first to make an offering to the Buddha. She would serve the warm rice little by little in small bowls for Buddha and put her hand together. Since I usually watched my father and grandfather, I naturally understood that the monks were normal humans. They were not special people, so they made many mistakes. But they tried to choose a good path. Don't worry, Buddha is watching over you. Buddha says thank you to you. I grew up with these words from the adults around me. I naturally learned that there is a Buddha within and around me, within other people and all around me. For me, Buddhism was as natural as the air. The Buddha was like a very kind grandfather or grandmother, or sometimes like a baby who needs to be cared for and cherished. Also, I grew up in a temple. I never thought that I would become a nun in the future. The Japanese monks who came to help my family temple were all men. I was not familiar with nuns. But one day, out of the blue, my mother became a nun. When I was a high school student, I came home from school to find my mother had already shaved her head. I was very surprised and cried, thinking her precious hair. Now, when she shaves her head, "Oh, Mom, you are so beautiful," I can say naturally from my heart. But for me, as a teenager, it was like something terrible has happened. I felt her determination was heartbreaking. She just smiled brightly when she saw me crying. Around that time, after my grandfather passed away, various bad encounters were happening to us. I think my mother decided to become a nun to protect and support my father. Next 5 years ago, in 2020, my sister decided to become a nun and entered to Toshoji, a monastery temple in Okayama Prefecture, for her practice. At that time, I was also very surprised by her choice. After 1 year, my sister came back home and said to me, please become a nun too. Again, I was greatly surprised. But somewhere in my heart, I felt that I already knew that I would become a nun. It is only one difference, but I think my sister felt the pressure of continuing the temple more heavily than I did. In many cases, women born in Japanese temples are expected to marry a monk and take over the family. But it caused us great suffering, and to go our separate ways without continuing the temple gave us a strong sense of guilt, as if we were abandoning our family. I was struggling to find a way to move in a brighter direction. I decided to enter to Toshoji for practicing, as did my sister. The biggest obstacle for me in becoming a nun was to cut my long hair and shave my head. But after I shaved my head, I felt strangely relieved. Second, I will tell you about the changes that actually took place in me after I started my practice at Toshoji. In my case, only 6 months of training was sufficient to qualify as a Sotoshu monk. At first, I decided to do the training for only 6 months and then come home. However, in the end, I spent 3 years and a few months as a practitioner at Toshoji. I knew nothing about Buddhism or Zazen. I learned how to put on the kimono, dai and okesa, how to do Zazen, and everything from scratch by the seniors and the teachers. Before going to Toshoji, I had made up my mind that I would never forget to respect what someone else cherished, even if I didn't know. But I made so many mistakes out of ignorance. From the beginning to the end of my training, I received a lot of support and forgiveness from the people around me. Even though I was born and raised in a Japanese temple, Toshoji was a mysterious place for me. It was a very quiet environment, closed off from the outside world, with no cell phone or TVs. I entered Toshoji in March. The cherry blossom had just begun to bloom. As I was walking around looking at the cherry blossoms, Toshoji's cute cat appeared from somewhere. She wanted to walk with me. As I stroked her in the warm sunshine, I wondered if there were a heaven, would the scenery be like this? It was very interesting to learn the meanings of the things I had been exposed to since I was a child through my training. For example, my father used to say, "Yataiki, yataiki," when he was in a good mood, such as when he drank good sake. Yataiki, yataiki means I am very grateful and happy. I was very happy to know for the first time that my father had always spoken Buddhism words. My grandfather had been a practitioner for a very long time. My grandfather entered the temple when he was only 6 years old, and he continued his Buddhism training as unsui practitioner until he became the abbot of Tokuren in his late 30s. He always walked without a break, cleaning the temple and walking in the fields from early in the morning until dark. During my time as a practitioner at Toshoji, I realized, oh, my grandfather had been living his life as unsui all his life. My training was like having a conversation with him. Toshoji is a very deep temple. Practitioners, young and old, men and women of all nationalities gather to share their practice life together. I learned for the first time through my Buddhism practice that the temple does not belong to anyone, but is a place for everyone. When we share the food equally and eat it together, it tastes many times better and is more enjoyable. I felt my heart was happy when I cleaned the sangha to make it as good as possible. I also enjoyed learning about Buddhism everyone together. The schedule of the monastic life is fixed, and the same routine is repeated every day. We all do this life together. In the course of a day, I often saw that it is not only my own efforts, but also those of the people around me that make my practice possible. I was born and raised in a Sotoshu temple, but I have never done Zazen before. I first encountered Zazen at Toshoji. At first, I was afraid of Zazen. During Zazen, my mind was filled with so many suffering and bad images. Someone was crying loudly inside me. In fact, many tears fell from my eyes during Zazen. What is Zazen? I really wonder. Shikantaza, just sit. I tried to continue with this instruction, but in the beginning, Zazen time was really a great pain for me. My teachers and seniors who must have been concerned about me advised me to sit up straight and keep concentrating on repeating deep breaths. Keep going, don't stop, just keep going. I received many such encouraging messages from people around me. Little by little, I was able to face Zazen again. My head became quieter and quieter. I repeated Zazen. Then I had to face the fact that the cries I heard during Zazen were my own voice. At that time, I had been in a difficult situation for a long time, and I wanted to save my family and make them happy. I told myself, I am fine, I am fine. I tried not to look at my heart. In the process, I became unsure of what I really wanted. I shaved my head, became a nun, and came to Tokyo. But who am I? Who is Chikyo? I wondered. I was so far removed from the Tomoko I was before I became a nun, and also from the Chikyo, that I felt as if I did not know who I was or why I was here. I went to the teacher's room to ask for advice. They had many good words for me. First of all, please help yourself. One of the teachers said to me, I cannot see how to do it, but I wanted to save myself. I began to think about what my heart wanted, but in the beginning, I was afraid, hesitant, and guilty. I felt like I was being selfish and doing the wrong thing by going through with what I wanted. It was easier for me to do for others than to face my own problems. However, I wondered if putting on blinders over my own life and neglecting myself would really make people around me happy. The words of Shobo Genzo Zui Monkey gave me a lot of encouragement in my training. I especially like the part where Zen Master Dogen gives words of encouragement to Ejo Zenji, who has become a Shuso. いずれの玉か初めより光ある。誰人か初心より利なる。必ず磨くべし、すべからくねるべし。自ら卑下して学道を緩くすることなかれ。No jewel shines brightly from the beginning. No one is superior from the first. Always polish them up. Always improve yourself. Don't allow yourself to be down on. Don't neglect learning and practicing the way. I recorded these words again and again whenever I realized my inadequacies and felt depressed. Monastery Abbot Dochoro's story about the Dragon Gate also gave me great comfort. When you pass through the temple gate, you leave behind everything you have ever been. When you pass through the gate, you all become dragons, even if you cannot see it with your eyes. I have made many mistakes in the past, and I couldn't do this or that, so I'm sure I will not be able to do it again this time. I used to think about these things often and lose my energy, but when he told me that I could leave all the things I had done in the past behind, it really lightened my heart. Now, be aware of the present. The most important thing is now. I always wondered, who am I right here, right now? What kind of person am I at the moment? And what do I want to do now to move in the right direction? While during the Zen, I asked myself, what kind of dragon am I? In Buddhist terminology, there are two words, gyonyu and rinyu. Gyonyu means to learn Buddhism through physical exercise and practice. Rinyu means to learn Buddhism through reading books and studying. In my case, the percentage of gyonyu was very large at Toshoji. Before thinking about this and that, try it anyway. I learned by actually moving my body and practicing. That was a big change for me. Before until then, I had often been stuck worrying only in my head. In fact, my grandmother passed away soon after I entered Toshoji in March. I received the news from my family for the first time in July. My parents hid my grandmother's death so that I could continue my practice. They thought that the Buddhism practice was so important. I wondered, what exactly is this practice? Who are my parents? What is a temple? I knew nothing about it until now. I cried. I walked along on the approach to the temple, looking at the beautiful mountain scenery. My grandmother had missed her husband a lot since he had passed away. I knew she would see him and be with him. When I was about 6 months into my training at Toshoji, I wrote a letter to my father, my teacher, asking him, please allow me to continue my training at Toshoji for 1 year. And when 1 year had passed, I wrote to him again. I still want to continue my training at Toshoji. I don't know when I will be able to come home. Just then, Dochoros asked me if I would like to try out for the leadership role of Shuso at the next summer ango. I really wanted to try Shuso. My father was against it. He replied me, finish your training in 1 year and come home, support and help your family. I strongly rebelled against him. I even declared, I will not help you, even though deep down inside, I wanted to be happy with my family. He and I were also serious, and we fought. At that time, I think I was just depressed to save myself. Eventually, he allowed me to practice at Toshoji for as long as I wanted until I was satisfied. He was my Dharma teacher, but for a long time, I was just his daughter, and he was just my father. When I stopped even listening to my Dharma teacher, he said to me, "You will be an arrogant bad Shuso." It was a very harsh word, but I gradually came to understand it firsthand. In fact, I became Shuso and began a 3-month summer period of intensive training called Ango. Shuso was a really difficult role for me. As a leader, I had to support everyone and try to make things work, but I ran into all kinds of problems. Every day, I felt my inadequacy. When I went to sleep, I cried under the covers. I remembered my father's words and realized that what he said was true. And I knew that he was my Dharma teacher. During the Shuso ceremony, which we called Hosenshiki, we have what we call Dharma combat. We give quiz, questions, and answers. I was very nervous, but I heard the small sound that someone crying. It was my father. "Oh, my father, you are crying?" I remember that made me feel relaxed. When I think back now, when I was a leader of the Shuso, when I was the Shoki leading the next Shuso, and when I went to South America for 3 months as a study monk of Toshoji. All of these experiences were made possible by the support of the people around me. I could not have done any of these things on my own. For my South American study tour, I was allowed to visit temples in Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, Peru, and Paraguay. It was the first time for me to dive into a completely different culture to practice Buddhism. I felt a lot of confusion, and for the first time, I truly understood the feelings of those who came to Toshoji from other countries to practice Buddhism. No matter which country's temple I visited, the atmosphere inside the temple and during Zazen was the same. That commonality always put me at ease. Whenever I went, there were always people who helped me. With their support, I was able to complete my 3 months of study. After returning from South America, I felt really empty of energy. I couldn't move as much as I wanted to. It was really hard not to be in control of myself. While I was home resting, I had a lot of face-to-face talks with my parents, and my sister training at Aichi Nisodo gave me a lot of good words. It really helped me with the encouragement and help of many people. I regained my strength. I remember how relieved I was to be able to return to Toshoji. As we all chant sutras and did zazen together, I felt even more energized again. When I left Toshoji, Suzuki Hoichiro said and encouraged me. Buddhism did not come from anywhere, nor go to anywhere. Buddhism has always been here. Come back here anytime. My heart was greatly helped by the fact that I was able to learn about the endless depths and magnitude of Buddhism through the practice of Toshoji. When I clean my home temple to make it a better place, and when I chant the sutras, I feel connected to Toshoji and the Sangha members around the world. It gives me great encouragement. Thank you very much for inviting me. I can feel that many people care about this place. I am so grateful and happy to be able to do Zazen with you all here at Sangha. Finally, I would like to chant a Baika song. This is Zazen Baika song. The poem is Dogen Zenji's poem. Tona e tatematsu zazen noご栄華に濁りなき心の水に住む月は波もくなけて光とぞなる光とぞなるMy father and teacher, Doko Imura, is a Baika teacher. I feel his voice is special when we chant the Baika at the memorial service together. I would like to continue my practice as well. Please come and visit Tokuren Temple in Japan too. Let's practice Baika together. That's all. Thank you very much for listening my long story.
Well, would you welcome questions?
Hi.
explain a little bit more in detail what Baika practice is?
Baika practice.
Yes.
What it is.
What is it?
Yes, what is it?
What? セレモニー、funeral, memorial service, and wedding, and 発線式 ceremony. We chant Baika, Baika song, a lot of Baika song, and sometimes sadness, and wedding, for wedding, very good mean happiness song. And sutra is, for example, 大悲心ならに、ナムからタンのトラヤヤ。It's difficult to understand for Japanese too. We just listening. But Baika is very easy to understand for Japanese people. And when memorial service, we chant Baika for help their sad heart. Sometimes they cry because they can understand what meaning. Yes. はい、どうぞ。
What is the biggest difference between your practice in Japan and what you have experienced here or do here? Or just kind of anything you've noticed being in two different cultures?
Difference?
Yeah.
Japan and here? ですね、during Zazen is same, very same. And for me, it's very different. Many teacher come, and people can ask teachers and discussion. And many words, teacher answers with many words. I think, I really, いいですね、いいです、いいな。I want to study here because in Japan, ちょっと、Japanese monk teachers, like, ちょっと mysterious. I ask a lot by word, but they gave me one word, sometimes one word. Okay. Chikyo-san is fine, it's okay, like this. I talk about 20 minutes. I cried and I asked, please, like this, but the teacher just smiled and Chikyo-san is fine. It's okay. Like this. But it's good too. It's good too. Yes. It's for me a very big difference. Thank you. ありがとうございます。
Question. You talked about growing up in a temple. What kind of practices do children do with Buddhism? Like reading or learning? You said you did zazen later. So what do children do?
If boy was born,
how do parents teach their children about Buddhism?
How in Japan? My case, I was girl, and if I was born boy, my grandfather and father teach me how to chant sutra, how to move in ceremony, how to put offering like this for becoming a monk in the future. But in my case, I didn't receive such teaching, but just in the temple, they said very naturally, please think others people heart like this. Compassion, yes, it's very daily. I think it's not only Buddhism. I think so. Very natural teaching. It's okay? Hi.
Thanks for sharing your life story. That was very insightful. You're talking about like how you become a monk and then you've been to temple, you went to South Africa, you're in US, so those are all outward journey. But you have inward journey also. The devotion mission in where you're telling the story that who am I, what I want to be on this. So my question to you is, are you able to find yourself? And if I ask you right now who you are, would you able to define it? And if yes, can you please share with us?
Thank you. After South America, my energy is empty, and that time, Tomoko, before me, Tomoko and Chikyo, I don't know why, but and now I felt I am Tomoko and Chikyo also very, I don't know why, but now 大丈夫 but okay, yes, together. But why? Sorry, why? I don't know why. But now I think I am Chikyo and Tomoko too. Yes, yes. Thank you.
Chikyo-san, you chanted a bike for Zazen, and I honestly missed some of your thoughts on Zazen. What do the Japanese view Zazen as a key central practice, and why? And what are your thoughts on Zazen practice?
Zazen practice?
Yes.
そうですね。For me, Zazen is not only sitting, when cleaning, when cooking, when sleeping, always Zazen. And そうですね。concentrate. When we have session in Toshoji, Japan, many times Japanese practitioner cooking and foreigners Zazen. Why so? Because about doctors think because about visa, foreigners people only 3 months or 6 months about visa, and but Japanese is very easy. Many temple we can see everywhere temple, and in Toshoji, during session, Japanese practitioner cooking, but for me it's same. Zazen is important. Cooking is important too. Yes, like this. Yes, yes. I learned at Toshoji this. It's okay? Okay.
Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Chikyo-san, for offering yourself and your wisdom to our community. So appreciative. And we're going to have some announcements at this time. We're going to have a special announcement from our sculptor,